Nearly 4 months ago, this community and the communities around the world were devastated by the tragic events that took place. Over that time, I've had the opportunity to talk to many of those who were the most impacted by this accident. They continue to grieve and to adjust in the aftermath. I've been absolutely overwhelmed and inspired by the courage and resolve of these people. Undoubtedly, through these folks, I've truly gained a new perspective on life, family, and become a better person through knowing many of them. I know I speak for the entire Reno Air Racing Association when I say that all of these individuals and families constantly remain in our thoughts and our prayers. And with that in mind, I'd like to ask that all of you join me in a brief moment of silence. Thank you. I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention the incredible response of Northern Nevada. In the wake of this accident, and in far too many other tragedies that took place in our region this last year, I am so proud to be a member of this community that has demonstrated so much compassion and fortitude in the face of tremendous adversity. From the selflessness of individual citizens to the leadership of our elected officials, from the astounding care and passion of our first responders, healthcare providers, and servicemen and women, to their generosity and their empathy, to that of the local businesses, the casinos, and community organizations. The grace and resilience of this community is humbling, and I'm truly honored to call myself a Northern Nevadan. We've also seen an incredible response of support, generosity, and sympathy from all over the world, not just for our event, but for our entire community. It's in trying and troubling times that the character is defined and the true mettle of the human spirit is demonstrated. While I unquestionably wish circumstances were different, I have been privileged to see true acts of heroism and humanity, and I simply don't have the words to express our appreciation for the way that so many have responded in the face of this tragedy. We can only say thank you. I'd also like to extend a special thank you to Think Kindness and its founder, Brian Williams. This is a local nonprofit organization that very shortly after the accident, in fact within hours, established and began working with various businesses and partners to establish a family assistance fund to help the victims and their families with financial and logistical needs. I know with the help of Home Depot, they recently returned from helping one of the victims make some alterations to his house. I also know they're continuing to identify opportunities to help victims adjust. Thank you for your continued efforts to help those affected by this accident, Brian. Though we continue to focus on the victims of last year's accident, partly at the request of many of these same families, we've been forced to turn our attention forward to the future of the National Championship Air Races. This event has a tremendous heritage, and it remains one of the biggest, most historic events of its kind. It's a year-round effort that annually attracts more than 200,000 spectators, generates an estimated $85 million for the local economy, and over our 48-year history, we have been graced with some of the most skilled, talented pilots and performers in the entire aviation world. Unquestionably, we do have the best and the most loyal fans of all of sport. However, in the days and the months after the accident, as we grappled with the future of the air races, it wasn't economics, accolades, or recognition that brought us to where we are today. It was the one-on-one conversations with victims, the impassioned emails and phone calls from people all around the world, urging and encouragement of our volunteers and participants, and the collective will of many people that make up the Air Race family that have motivated us to do everything we can to preserve and continue this historic event. With that in mind, we're committed to making sure this terrible tragedy is not the concluding epilogue of the National Championship Air Races. Undoubtedly, we have much work to do and many challenges to overcome. We're committed to working side by side with our permitting partners at the City of Reno, the Reno-Tahoe Airport Authority, and the Federal Aviation Administration in jointly addressing any concerns and making any necessary changes to ensure the safety and the sustainability of this event. We've already begun initial conversations with each of these entities and are very optimistic about our prospects for 2012. While the National Championship Air Races has always enjoyed tremendous support from our sponsors and the community partners, we understand that it will take unprecedented cooperation and support in order to successfully press forward. Recently, we began an ongoing process of meetings with many of our community stakeholders and community leaders. Universally, they've expressed their support and commitment for seeing the event move forward. We've also met with many of our sponsors, vendors, and racers who very much felt the effects of having to cancel Saturday and Sunday of last year's events. Again, of those we've met with, they have universally expressed their support and commitment for moving forward. Most importantly, our fan support has been overwhelming. During our refund period of mid-October to early December, refunds were requested by less than 20% of the ticket holders who held tickets for Saturday and Sunday. Now, for a not-for-profit event that relies on ticket sales and sponsorships to succeed on an annual basis, this is a substantial number, to be sure, but it's not one that can't be overcome. Furthermore, we already have fans from all over the world lining up to get their tickets for 2012. In short, we're in the process of closing the books financially on 2011. We'll likely lose nearly $1.5 million. It's a significant and a sobering number. But with the continued support and generosity of our fans, our sponsors, and our community partners, we can endure this setback. Even as we work through our permitting and our financial challenges, we've begun our planning process for the 2012 event. It's what we do. As we do every year, we will soon be conducting an internal review of all of our operations and procedures, along with our race classes, technical experts, and local emergency responders. Every year we sit down and we analyze, how can we do things better? The safety of our spectators and pilots is always a primary concern, and given last year's tragic and extraordinary events, we not only will look from the inside out, we also feel it's necessary to look from the outside in. We've created a blue ribbon review panel comprised of some of the foremost aviation and safety experts in the country to examine any possible changes or adjustments that could be made to enhance the already high level of safety established by the FAA and the existing RAH procedures. I'm pleased that we've been able to find 4 members for this panel that, with their backgrounds, I think you'll agree with me, they are extraordinary. First, we have Jim Hall. Jim is a former chairman of the National Transportation Safety Board and one of the top transportation safety and security experts in the country. Nick Sabatini, former Associate Administrator of Aviation Safety for the FAA, where he received much recognition and accolades for his leadership and innovation. Nick brings a real strong relationship within the aviation community, and besides, he's a good friend of a friend of mine, Paul Boberesny. Nick, thanks for joining us. Along with these two notable individuals, we felt that it was also essential that we bring in some people who are near and dear to aviation, especially with a deep respect and background knowledge with the air races. John Sharp is an aeronautical engineer and aircraft designer who worked at the Lockheed Skunk Works for 25 years and is the winningest pilot in the history of aviation, or the history of the air races. John has built a number of airplanes from the ground up and is highly respected among his peers in racing and his peers in the aviation world. John Sharp. Our final member of the review panel is Steve Hinton. Steve is a two-time unlimited national champion who currently serves as the pace plane pilot for the unlimited class. So he's got an ongoing current working knowledge of what's going on out there. He's also the president of the Planes of Fame Air Museum in Chino, California, and he has credentials to fly almost any aircraft, past and present. He's restored hundreds of warbirds. In fact, was intimately involved in the recovery of Glacier Girl from the ice up north, and flies her constantly and brings her to the air races. Steve is arguably one of the film industry's top pilot, and he's an aviation stunt choreographer. We're delighted to have Steve Hinton join us on the panel. This panel will begin their work later today, and have been asked to make possible recommendations and determinations on how we can further ensure spectator and pilot safety. We expect that this panel will present their preliminary recommendations to the Reno Air Racing Association Board within the next 90 days. They're fast and they're good. Hopefully that'll allow us then time to study any suggested changes and recommendations in time for our Pylon Racing Seminar, which will be conducted in June. Clearly, this panel has much work to do, and they won't speculate on the possible recommendations or results until they get further down the road, just as we will not comment or speculate on our own internal review until it's completed. I know there was a lot of expectations that we were going to make some announcements about things we were going to do out there. It's much too early. We need to have the people who are the experts to get out there and do their job and evaluate and come back and give us what they found, what they've seen, and we can implement it. But furthermore, it's as has been the case since immediately after the accident, the Air Race Association, as well as the panel, will defer all questions and comments regarding the accident itself to the NTSB. It is an active and ongoing investigation upon which we cannot and will not make any comments. As I stated before, we're committed to continuing this great event. As such, I'm proud to announce the event dates for 2012 are September 12 through 16 at the Reno Stead Airfield. We have already booked some world-class performers to help us welcome back the world's greatest pilots to compete in the 49th Annual National Championship Air Races. Our plans are well underway. We've carefully considered our other options besides the running of the air races. And with that said, we simply cannot operate anything less than the full National Championship Air Races and Air Show and continue on into the future financially and logistically. In the event we're not able to successfully navigate all of those challenges and hurdles that lay before us, we will hold a final, one-of-a-kind air show and memorial only for this year. Many of the victims, their families, air race teams, and fans have told us they're coming to Reno this September no matter what. And we feel it's our obligation to give them something no matter what. We are looking forward to seeing them regardless of what happens, and we want to be here with a ramp full of race planes. However, if that's not to be, we will hold an alternative aviation event. But it would be the last for us. Again, I want to thank all of you for joining us here today. We definitely need your support and all of your collective focus and energy in order to continue the successful history of the National Championship Air Races. More importantly, though, I ask you each to keep the victims and families of this tragedy and all of the tragedies suffered in northern Nevada last year in your thoughts and in your hearts. We'll continue to keep you updated on the progress of our work towards the 2012 event, and we'll plan on holding another forum similar to this when our Blue Ribbon panel and our internal reviews are completed. Please pay attention to our website, Facebook page for all the event news. I guess in short, the best way to say it is we're moving ahead. And we invite all of you to join us in that endeavor to leap over all the hurdles, knock down all of the brick walls, so that in September we welcome and we open up the 49th Annual National Championship Air Races.